This is True Father and True Mother, very briefly visiting their house in North Korea, where Father was born. Then, True Father and True Mother are visiting Kim Il-sung, the president of North Korea, bearing in mind that they're both North Koreans. Yeah? Now, one slogan that Father said many years ago, and I haven't got the right writing where it comes from, is you're not human if you don't desire to go back to your origin. Everybody seems to want to know where they come from. They need to go back to where they come from. And I think that True Parents also, in that film, that short film, they went back to where they came from. They came from Korea. They came from North Korea. That's where Father was born. Yeah, and also Mother has visited her hometown as well. Now, Trevor was right. I've been a long time in the movement. This is my 50th year. I joined in 1975 on South Farm in June, just before the harvest season. So it's a celebration for me. It really is. I feel totally happy. And last week I went back to the new house in Hossel Lane, and I had, being a fanatic vegetarian when I joined, my first job was mucking out the bull barn and the chicken barn. And I had to eat meat for the first time in 7 years, which was a cultural shock. The next job that I had was cutting vegetables. And we had a meal with Gwyneth Warner. Yeah, and they gave me the carrots to cut because I was a profound vegetarian. I chopped the end off, and I chopped the tip off, and I put it on the plate. And the sister who was doing the cooking at the time, Angela Day from Waterville in Ireland, she said, "That's not the way to build the kingdom of heaven. What level of care have you put into that carrot?" And I said, "Well, I normally just eat carrots. That's all I've eaten for 7 years." She said, "No, watch me." She cut it into slices and she put it into a flower on the plate. She said, "That level of beauty, that is how to build kingdom of heaven. Dumping something on a plate, scruffy. Grow up," she said. Yeah. Woo! What a good teacher she was. I mean, seriously good. So then I went to Hossel Lane House, and I was given a cleaning cloth and some soapy water for the windows. And I was told by Doris Orme, True Parents are coming in 1975 to England. They're going to sleep in this room. You've got to clean the window. So I cleaned the window, and Doris said, "No, that's not how to clean the window. Clean the window. True Parents are coming to this house. Do you get it?" And so I cleaned and I cleaned and I cleaned until that window was shining. Yeah, I went back there last week for a public speaking seminar with the international team. What do they call the Empower team? Yeah, and they now were living with the with the pastor in that house. That house was really in bad condition. Yeah, the previous tenants had not looked after it at all. So when you look at the garden, it's a jungle. Yeah, and when you go in the house, the welcome was extraordinary. Bogdan cooked a meal for us, which was a beautiful Austrian schnitzel in cream and mushroom sauce. And I thought, goodness me, they're welcoming me to their house with the very best standard. Yeah, they've just moved in there. It's going to take a team of 20, at least 2 years to get that house up to beauty, because this is a lot of work. Yeah, and then on the wall, I saw this beautiful guitar, and I went up to it. I put my fingers down it. It was beautifully in tune. And I said, who plays guitar? Can you play, Bogdan? And he said, no. And I said, Yoshiko, can you play? She said, no, I play piano, but not guitar. And I said, well, what is such a beautiful guitar doing there? And they said, Daddy Bernard, cello, left it just in case you have a workshop. Yeah, but he didn't give a bad guitar. He gave a good Japanese guitar, really beautiful guitar, perfectly in tune. And he put a hook in the wall so that it was always ready for anybody to go up there and play. So it seemed that the welcome to guests, the welcome to family members was excellent. It was of a standard. Yeah. So I'd like to I've got 4 quotes today, 2 from the Bible, 2 from True Parents. The first one is the parable of the 10 virgins from Matthew, chapter 25. At that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. The foolish ones took their lamps, but didn't put any oil in them. Yeah? The wise ones, however, took oil in jars along with their lamps. The bridegroom was a long time in coming, and they all became drowsy and fell asleep. At midnight, the cry rang out, "Hey, here's the bridegroom. Come out and meet him." Then all the virgins woke up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish ones said to the wise, "Oh, come on, give us some of your oil. Our lamps are going out." Yeah. "No," they replied, "there's not enough for both of us and you. Instead, go down to the shop, go down to the people who sell oil and buy some for yourself." Yeah. But while they're on their way to buy oil, the bridegroom arrived suddenly. Yeah. The virgins who were ready went in with him to the wedding banquet, and then the door was shut. Later, the others also came. They said, "Lord, Lord, open the door for us." He said, "No, truly, I don't know who you are. Go away." Now, this is why I've made the topic, True Parents are visiting my home. Not Yoshiko's home, but my home. Am I ready? Yeah? If the Lord walked into my house, number 3 Airway, West Bletchley, yeah? Anybody's welcome, even online. Yeah? Would I be ready to welcome them with the same heart that Bogdan, Yoshiko, and Uncle Bernard gave to me when I visited their house last week? But if True Parents came, yeah, would I be ready for True Parents themselves? I had that experience in 1975. You know, if True Parents come, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? What am I going to wear? What existential position will I put myself in? Who am I? You know, when the Messiah comes to call, is there any oil in my lamp whatsoever? Or am I running on gas? Yeah, running on vapor. So, when guests come to your house, you have food in your fridge and in your larder, do you not? Or do you not? Yeah? Do you live such a self-centered, and by you, I'm including myself, do I live such a self-centered life that I have Marmite because I, being British, like Marmite, but do I have kimchi in case I have Korean guests, or sushi rolls in case I have Japanese guests? Yeah? Am I prepared for anybody who comes? And am I prepared for the taste of True Parents? I wonder, what would I give him? Do you want a Marmite sandwich on white bread, mate? It's not very dignified. Yeah? Not very dignified. So where is our heart of preparation? Now, it is traditional in our movement, and it is traditional even from the Jewish time when they kept one extra glass of wine on the Sabbath table, to wait for the anointed one, for waiting for the Lord to return. It's been our tradition historically that if there are 7 people in your family, you have 8 places, and you have 1 plate for true parents. Yeah? And you put a little symbolic bit of food. Do we keep that tradition today, 2025? Yeah? Do we keep it physically? Probably not. Do we keep it mentally? Possibly not. I don't know. I don't want to judge anybody other than myself. Yeah? But I think it's a good idea to keep that tradition going. If the Lord suddenly comes, are you prepared? This is your place, Father. This is your place, Mother. And I've got a cushion. And because your eyes aren't very good, I've got bright lights so that you can see what's going on. Yeah? Have we actually prepared? Yeah? So, interesting, in 1976, we went to Washington Monument, and we sold a whole herd of cattle. We sold all of our brown cows to get the airline fee to go there, all of our lovely Guernseys. Yeah, we kept the Holsteiners, but we got rid of the Guernseys. And we ended up in a really run-down hotel in Washington, D.C. It was a house of ill repute before we went there. And there were black paint on the windows. Yeah? So the first thing we did in Washington Monument was we cleaned the hotel that we were staying at. Yeah, we swept the floor, we cleaned the walls, we wiped all the graffiti off the windows. It was the most dismal place. So we turned it from hell into heaven. We had fun. I mean, it's such a great campaign, Washington Monument. It was such a joy. So what we did is we took what was awful and we made it beautiful. I don't know if all of you went to Munich last year for the Bloom Festival. I went one day early because I was staff. Jokingly, I was security staff. I wasn't quite sure why I was chosen for that. And it was a miserable place. All run down, old wood, old concrete, unloved. Then we came in, and within 24 hours, it looked beautiful. It was lights, and it was colors, and it was people, and it was music, and it was speech. It really went from hell to heaven within one day of us going there. That's what we can do. We can transform the world from hell into heaven with our hearts and with our preparation and with our level of Shemchang, loving the people who are there. Yeah. So that's what I felt about the restoration between poor and good. Are we doing it still? Are we preparing? Yeah. Now, in 1978, we had Home Church Providence in London, which was, again, another joy. And it was a joy to see that True Father said you can't serve the whole world. So take 360 homes, which represents 360 degrees of the clock, and symbolically serve them until they love you and know where you come from. Where do you come from? You come from your true parents. Yeah? So we have to get over that persecution. Now, there's a quote here I'm going to quote properly, and there's a quote I'm going to quote improperly. Yeah? The quote I'll quote improperly first is what I remember, but I just couldn't find it in all of my research for the last 2 weeks. I couldn't find the actual quote. Father said, when I visit your house, or if I visit your house, I'm not going to stop at the front door. I'm going to go to your bathroom. Your front door can look cool, but is your bathroom clean? I'm going to go straight there. And I thought, crumbs, I looked at my house, I've got flowers in the front door, but there's dirt in the bathroom. Even my granddaughter told me that last week. Grandpa, I'm going to go to the shower room downstairs because upstairs is not clean enough for me. Oh dear, I thought, crumbs, Even an 11-year-old notices that, So, listen to this one carefully. It's on the same theme. When you go to home church, don't try to get in someone's living room right away. Go through the back door and then scoot up to the bathroom. In the back door. My father's cheeky. It's so amazingly imaginative. He said, your first thought will be, how can this be a bathroom in the heavenly kingdom? I cannot afford to leave it this dirty. I'll clean it myself. After the bathroom is clean and fresh, you can come out and look at the hallway. You'll say, I cannot afford to welcome Heavenly Father into this dirty hall, so now I'll clean the hall up as well. Yeah? The person living there will stride up to you and shout, what kind of rascal are you? Father loved that word, rascal. Yeah. What kind of rascal are you? Why do you bother my bathroom? And then you'll shout back. Hopefully we didn't shout back, but we explained back. What kind of rascal am I? What kind of rascal are you? Yeah, this is my home, and I'm trying to welcome our heavenly parent into this home, and nobody's going to stop me. Yeah, I am going to keep cleaning your house until God comes to this house. That's an attitude, is it not? Goodness me. I think only true mother would have the guts to say that in public. Yeah. You can tell them, don't you want to celebrate at least one of God's birthdays in your home? The other person will be totally overcome and say, huh? Is it true? God would live in this house? Yeah. You say, all you have to do is try me out free for 1 week. Whether God is coming in through the door or not, just try me out for 1 week. This is a very effective way to make a sale in America. Offer somebody a free trial, and if they don't like what they're offering, they can take it back. Yeah, such a amusing thing. So we were giving our service and say, if you like service, if you like love, if you don't like service and you don't like love, what's wrong with your head? Yeah? This is heaven. I'm offering you heaven. Do you want to live in hell or do you want to live in heaven? Your choice. You've got to be quite confident to use language like that. Yeah? But I love it. I love it. I don't know whether I'd have the courage to quite put it that richly. Don't go empty-handed to visit your area. Get up early in the morning and raise some money. Buy some candy or cookies and give it to the small children in your homes. You can win their hearts that way. Then their parents will like you better. When the head of the house welcomes you, the rest of the family will welcome you too. Even the animals will get friendly towards you. Home church is just that. The church is your home. How many of you really regard your home church as your home? Feeling that closeness is the only way to do home church. So that's quite amazing, isn't it? Yeah? You're saying, representing true parents, I am heaven, I am cleanliness, I am beauty, yeah? I am truth. Yeah? Do you want to taste it or not? If you want to, you're clever. If you don't want to, you're not. So get clever. Oh, dear me. So, Jesus comforts his disciples. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God. Believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I'm going there to prepare a place for you? May I reread that line with a different emphasis? Yeah? My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? The whole purpose of the house of the Lord is to welcome the Lord's children in a parental fashion. Yeah? Doesn't go so that the Lord can look posh in his posh house. It goes because he wants to embrace his children. Jesus replied, anybody who loves me will obey my teaching. My Father will love them, and we will come to them, and we will make our home with them. God and the Messiah together are homemakers. That's why we have home church. Yeah? Not building makers, but home makers. So the idea of every building that we have is a home. And when I look around our different centers in the United Kingdom, with my photographer's eye observing, with maybe a very critical eye, those centers that have a mother and a father looking after them are more prosperous than those centers who don't have a mother and father looking after them. So that's what we have to do. We have to develop our maternal heart. The mother rules the house. The father goes out of the house and does mission, and the mother embraces all and brings her into the house. So we need maternal houses, parental houses, to nourish the growth of us, the spiritual children of Heavenly Parent God and of true parents. When we've tidied up our house to welcome true parents and true family, we'll come to the realization that these are our parents and this is our family, and how we treat each other is how we treat God. That's an old biblical statement. It's a very traditional Christian viewpoint, that. You cannot love God and hate your brother. You cannot argue with your brother and love God. You cannot go to the holy altar and make an offering if you are full of resentment. You have to first make love overcome your resentment and then go to the altar and hand in hand together make the offering together. Now, here we go. True parents come to the house, yeah? I put two questions on my notes here. One, do we have a photograph of true parents in the house? Muslims have a quote from the Quran in the highest place in their building. So I have the word Allah in Arabic script in the top of my sunroom, which is our public meeting room. Yeah, and we have true parents. True parents said, don't idolize true parents. It's one picture maximum in every. But do we have a picture in a prominent place? Do we have an altar? Secondly, do we have a meal prepared? Is there any place next to our holy salt bottle, perhaps, where we have a little piece of food for true parents if they come? Or would we have to run down to Tesco's, which is closed for reconstruction, and then we're in a panic? Now, true parents come to my house. Ding dong, knock on the door. This is a gross oversimplification, but bear with me. True father basically wants to know what we're doing. What projects have you been involved with? Are you doing home church? Are you studying in the morning? Do you wake up for Hundok? Do you have any creative project that needs my help? Always true father would say that. I remember the keyboard player from from our band in Washington. Sunburst. Father came into his recording studio. He looked at his keyboard. He said, you don't have enough keyboards. What do you want? And he said, I'll have an organ, a synthesizer, a keyboard, and a piano, please. And Father said, okay, fine, I'll get it for you. Thank you. Out. Yeah? Then he thought, I didn't ask Father for a mixer. How am I going to wire them all up together? If I'd only prepared better for when Father visited my room, I would have dialogued with Father and multiplied the creativity. In Danbury, Father was given the report that there was one truck collecting old food from the supermarkets and distributing it through the churches to the poor people in the area. He said, fine, buy 50 trucks and do one in each state. Father said, you play an instrument, do you? Learn 3. Yeah? And then he said, oh, you're playing your instrument in England, are you? Right, first finish England, then go to Europe, then go to the world. This is Go World Brass Band. So he put everything up. So Father listens to our ideas and wants us to do more, maybe 3 times more. Are we ready for that? Or is it a dead shock? Yeah? When Father says, okay, what you're doing is all right, but why don't you just triple it? Why don't you multiply it by 100? Father's always doing that. Do you remember that in breakfast meetings, every morning, almost every morning of every day of the year, Father would invite leaders in and would say, has anybody got any reports? Got any projects? What are you doing? Hopefully they gave him true reports, yeah, and true projects. And any that Father liked, he would multiply. If they told him a pack of lies, the projects collapsed. If they told him something substantial, the project would increase. Yeah? Do we have a project? If Father asked us, if Father came in our house and said, what are you doing this week? Who are you serving? What project have you got? What would we say? I'm not putting any answers because it's my question for me and it's your question for thee. It's not mine. But do we have something that we're doing, that we're really invested in, which would stimulate true Father to say, yeah, you're my children. You are exemplary. I love it. Go for it. Do more. I've told the story many times, but I want to say it in context here. In 1988, when we met True Father in Chompadong, Hannam-dong, at the Olympics in 1988, Robert Kittle said, Father, I'm feeling a bit embarrassed, but we've pinched all of the Christian and Jewish quotes out of your level 4 divine principle in complete contradiction to what all the DP lecturers tell us to do. And we've replaced them with Sikh, Muslim and Hindu quotes because we work in Asia and we got to. Father said, I know what you're doing. I want you to do your research better and work harder. Yeah? And he said, interfaith, embracing all religions will be, in the next 10 years, it will become more and more and more important. Please work harder. That was our report to Father, and he even interrupted us before we'd finished the report. He said, I know what you're doing. I'm alert. Yeah? So, do we have that? Now, the next gross simplification about Father saying, what are you doing, is when Mother comes, she wants to know how we are. Are you clear as water? Are you as shining as a diamond? Yeah? Do you have the heart of children? She came to Munich last year saying, I am Wang Oppa. I'm seeing all of my children and my grandchildren. You're pure water. My only regret is I'd like to see even more of you. She wants to know how we are. So if we report to True Mother how we are in our hearts, how clear is our conscience? Are we living at midday or are we living at 10 to 7 in the morning with the sunlight coming in that angle? Yeah? How many shadows are coming out of our conscience and out of our heart? I don't know how I could face True Mother. Have to give you testimony. When I met Tremother in Sri Lanka, yeah, she was doing one of her last world tours at that time. Can't remember when it was, maybe 15 years ago now. And there was a Korean missionary in the center who was really unpleasant. He would argue with anybody. And there was a national leader who was really rankled by this Korean missionary. And so Tremother came into her hotel room and we opened for Hundok. And then she looked at everybody like that. She didn't follow her arms. She had her arms down. And she looked around. She said, you, do you love each other? No, she said, who is the leader in Sri Lanka? You or you? And they, that was a point of contention. She just saw it immediately, just boom, laser eyes, yeah? And she said, well, I'd like to ask you, do you two love each other? And the national leader went, it was hard. It was really hard. I thought, I'm a retired missionary to Sri Lanka. Thank heaven she's not talking to me. I think I might just melt if she even looks at me. Yeah, poor national leader who took over after I left. He's getting all the flames. And she said, right, first of all, you two have to love each other. You have to submit to each other. You have to serve each other. And you are the leader and you are the follower. Now, make a new beginning now as beloved brothers. So she brought Cain and Abel together, or she brought Jacob and Esau together, said, see the light of God in each other. Unite, love each other, and for goodness sake, get on serving the nation, not having petty squabbles in your life. But she'd only been there. She came the night before. She didn't know who we were or anything. She's just got laser antennae. She just has a spiritual consciousness about what everybody's thinking, which is just astonishing. And quite honestly, if your conscience isn't clear, it's quite scary as well. Yeah, I wish it was. So, concluding, how clean is our bathroom? How inviting is the hallway? Are we actually pure water? Yeah. I thought about clothes. Yeah. Do you think we should have new clothes? Well, because my wife is a farmer's daughter. Yeah, multiple generation farmer. She finds merit in keeping shoes for 10 years, 20 years, but she looks after them. She gets good shoes, repairs them, keeps them going. We don't need flashy house, but we need a house of love. We don't need flashy clothes. We need to look after them. We don't need to have the most handsome face, but we have to keep it as beautiful as we can for others. Yeah? So, Jesus said, if you do as I do, then you're my children. God is in me. I am in God. You are in me. Therefore, you are in God. This is a reciprocal relationship of tremendous value. So I'm going to finish with a quote from True Father from 1979. Within the ideal family, 4 generations are living together. Sadly, one seldom finds such a family here in America or in Europe. Therefore, a new tradition is being erected, centering on Reverend Moon. Now he would say centering on Reverend and Mrs. Moon, or Father Moon and Mother Moon. Yeah, you are the blessed couples. So now I am elevated to the position of grandparent. Will I have to telephone and ask before I come to visit you in your home? I mean, obviously not. They're welcome to come at any moment. Or are they? Yeah. If you have only one bedroom, will you give the bedroom to your parents and sleep in the bathroom if necessary? No problem. That should be so normal. You wouldn't even need to think about it. Yeah. I asked my parents when I came back from India as a missionary, could I just stay in your house? And she said, look, I've worked very hard for my independence. You get your own house and I'll stay in mine. Thank you very much. And I thought, wow, that's not the tradition. So then we moved to Milton Keynes and we formed a 3-generation family. Yeah, we're not old enough to have 4 generations. And my mother only once came to Milton Keynes to visit us. Yeah, that's the difference between the heavenly kingdom and where we come from. Yeah, that's our first generation, tradition. I always think about this. Why was Mary put into a cattle shed when she was pregnant? If a pregnant woman came to your house, you would give them your own bed. At least you give the living room. It's a shame. Absolute travesty of heavenly tradition. Yeah? So true parents come to establish the tradition. Grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren. Yeah? All vertically in the right position, in the right structure, loving and serving each other. And feeling so happy doing that as well. Since true parents cannot visit every home, you should have the parents' picture in a special place. Even your simple daily needs can be done with a special heart. When you have some little snack, like a cookie, you should think, I wish I could give this to my loved ones, my parents, my grandparents, my children. Since they're not here, I will appreciate the cookie for them. If there are a lot of hungry people around you, you should empty yourself out and feed them, even if you end up with only a glass of water. That's the right kind of spirit. My own family had this kind of tradition. They never let anybody leave our home with an empty stomach. Our home used to be like a beggar's gathering place. All the poorest people of the vicinity knew they would be well treated, so they came to our home. No one was mistreated. My mother served our grandparents, and she also served the passing beggars. She would feed them whenever they came by. This was a heavy physical ordeal for my mother. On one occasion, she didn't feed a beggar, so my father took his own meal and gave that meal to him. So my mother had to feed the beggars, otherwise her own husband would go hungry. That's the tradition of heaven. That's the goal that we're going to, that our heart is for God, for true parents, for others. And ourself, our family, our lineage is for others, and our house is for others. And the people who showed us that tradition is in their own actions, our true parents. So let us pray. Our beloved Heavenly Parent, we thank you so much for all that we've inherited from our true Father and our true Mother. We really pray that we can live up to their standard and institute their standard in our own lives, in our own devotion, in our children, in our grandchildren, in the environment which we live in. We really thank you that we've been chosen and we've been blessed to know the beauty of our true parents, and we pray that we can find the sanctity of Father and the sanctity and holiness of our Mother, and bring that into our house, bring it into our front door, into our eating, into our living, into our thinking, into our artistry that we do, into everything that we do to build your kingdom of heaven in our houses, in our communities, in our nation, in the world, and finally in the cosmos. We thank you and we pray this most sincerely in the name of our true parents and in our own names. Achu. Amen.